Well, hello everyone, and welcome to Life Made Easier podcast. My name is Leslie. It's such a pleasure to have you joining me today. Today, I am so excited about this episode for several reasons. But one is that the woman that will be on the podcast today and I have a passion for kind of the same age group of people, and what she's done, I think, is just miraculous. And before I give her secret away, I'm just going to introduce her first. I would like you to welcome Baraka Getz. Baraka is a wellness expert, and she's actually a Harvard educated author of 40 books that help my favorite group of people, which are children, and it helps their souls to shine. She's also She's also the author of a canted memoir that she wrote that to overcome food addictions and joyfully and within spirituality. And I know that sometimes even for myself, that anxiety and we're just trying to feel something in us, we can really start eating it and we can like eat ourselves to death, right? We could just like it doesn't ever feel like we're full. I'm sure that she'll have a little bit of insight into that if we get time to. But really, I would really like her to you to help me welcome, and help welcome her to this podcast and really listen to these books that she's written. She's an incredibly creative genius to me, and she touches my heart and soul because of the effort that she's putting into touching the hearts and souls of children. So let's get started. Baraka, thank you so much for joining me today. It's such a pleasure to have you here.
That was such a beautiful introduction. It really came from your heart. I love it. Thank you.
Well, they say I've started living right now. I live from my heart, mind, body, soul alignment, and I just live straight from my heart. I can't do scripts. I can't, do it. I just let it flow, and whatever I feel in my heart, I let it come out. Unless it's
Yes.
not good, then I keep it to myself. Then that's not coming from my
Yes.
heart, right?
Exactly. That we have it is an expression. What comes from the heart goes into the heart.
Right.
So thank you.
Well, you're very, very welcome, and thank you so much for joining me. There's so much that I remember from our conversation and meeting. I'm just going to turn this over to you because I know that you obviously know what you're doing, and I just want you to share with everybody like you shared with me because it was really so beautiful what you're doing. Go
Thank you
ahead.
so much. Thank you. Well, my mission is to increase joyful gratitude in the world. That says it all. And and the best way to do that is to start early, to help young children as early in life as possible develop gratitude skills, learn happiness skills that they will have for the rest of their lives. So right now there'll be 45 books as of this coming week out, and
Congratulations.
yeah, thank God. In every one of the books, we learn gratitude in different ways. And in some, it's the main focus of the book. In some, the message is more subtle. But every one of the books helps children to experience and appreciate the abundance of gifts in their life. And that's what we're really all here to do.
So start with there's a couple, like there's 5 different books that we discussed, but really I want you, maybe we start with the latter.
Okay, I'm going to start with the latter. This actually is not yet a book, but I have written it as a book for children as well. But I love teaching about the pleasure ladder. I actually learned this. It was created by a wonderful rabbi who changed my life, Rabbi Noach Weinberg. But it's based on ancient mystical teachings that are universal. So this is called the Pleasure Ladder. People can download it from my website. Actually, it was free, but now it's $1 because somebody's hacked into the website and just started constantly downloading it. So in order to stop that, we had to make it $1 to download the chart. And then now they're not doing that. I don't know what that was about, but this just happened recently. It explains that there's 5 levels of pleasure, which corresponds to our 5 fingers. Our 5 fingers are right in front of us. This is showing us we have the ability to bring joy into our lives at any moment. It's totally in our own power. So here we have this right in front of us to remind us, and these 5 levels also correspond to the 5 levels of the human soul. The lowest level of the soul is the part that's attached to our body. So it's all the natural physical pleasures, all the pleasures that we can experience with our senses.
Now, Carol, so I just have
Yeah.
one quick question. The 5 levels of the soul, I've never heard of that.
Yeah.
We'll talk about that in a minute. But
the 5 levels of the soul, is that what you said?
Yeah, I've never heard of that. So go ahead with the 5 senses, but I mean, I just have never heard about the 5 levels of the soul.
Exactly. It's if you've heard of the ancient wisdom of Kabbalah, it's in there that we learn this. And it's kind of a secret teaching, but it's time now for it to be revealed to the world. So it's really important information to spread all over.
So it's the 5 levels of the soul, but it's through the ancient wisdom, and we can learn more about it through the Kabbalah?
Yes, okay. That's where it is. It's explained. There's a book called The Way of God, and that book explains all these levels of the soul. The author of that book is Rabbi Moshe Chaim Luzzatto, but it's a book that you can find any place. So it also explains that the purpose of life, it explains in that book, the purpose of life, we were put here to experience gratitude. We were put in this incredible garden to enjoy it. In other words, this is amazing stuff, but God is everything.
Yes.
So how can everything have a relationship? Only by creating the illusion of retraction. And when that illusion happens, then the relationship with another can take place. And we are the other. We are the other, and our part of the relationship is to experience all these gifts with gratitude. That's really our whole purpose for being here.
The 5 gifts of the soul, experiencing the 5 gifts of the soul with gratitude.
Well, the gifts that we have in life that surround us every moment are infinite.
Okay.
There's no limit to the amount of gifts happening. Anybody listening to the podcast right now, they have infinite amount of gifts in their life right now, but they're not aware of this.
Right.
We don't live with that constant awareness. So the lowest level are all the sensual pleasures. It's the natural physical pleasures, all the healthy food that's given to us, being in nature, moving our bodies, dancing, gardening, music. All these are examples of natural physical pleasures, and when we experience them with gratitude, that brings us to that lowest level of pleasure where we feel filled up. We get real fulfillment when we experience any of these natural sensual pleasures with gratitude. That's the secret ingredient, the gratitude. And the next level, each level up brings more connection and more lasting pleasure. Because when we're in addiction, let's say a person is overeating, like I had that problem of overeating, nothing ever fills you up.
Right.
You keep desperately searching for externalities to fill the emptiness within. And it only makes the emptiness deeper and deeper. It just makes the hole bigger. So what does fill you up? Gratitude. When you experience you eat an orange, for instance, an orange. The fruit are green. They are camouflaged in by the leaves. They're protected so that they can when they become the most beautiful, vivid color, that's when they're ripe and ready for us. And they're calling to us, we're ready. So the orange is bright and beautiful, and it smells beautiful. Our eyes see it, our nose smells it, and then when the sweet juiciness, it's kept in for months. It's waiting for us. The orange that you hold in your hand was made for you.
Right.
It was made with infinite loving kindness and infinite intelligence because you're the one with the orange. And you experience it. It's been individually wrapped and preserved for you. And when you finish it, you find these seeds. They are designed to create infinite more oranges. If they get planted in the soil as they were meant to be, they become more trees and more oranges. It's the intelligence in a seed is unbelievable. So this is just one tiny gift, one orange, and we can't even imagine all the gifts in our lives right now. It's unbelievable, and that's just the lowest level of pleasure. It's amazing. So, and when a person is in addiction, what they need is connection. They feel we're self-centered. We feel estranged, alienated, disconnected, lonely, anxious, bored, depressed. This is what builds connection, gratitude. The next level up is love. Now, love seems dependent on somebody else. It doesn't seem like it's empowering and we could bring it into our lives at any moment. But the ancient mystical definition of love is focusing on the virtues of another. What do you appreciate about someone else? And you could do that anywhere. In a prison, a person could focus on a grandmother that did a kindness for them, and they're uplifted, inspired to be better. They can bring that warm feeling of love into their lives. A person doesn't have to be present. Just by focusing on the virtues of another, that's how we can all bring love into our lives at any time, at any moment. So love is even a greater connection. First, we're connecting to a thing, a natural thing in the environment, like an orange. Now we're connecting to another being. The middle level up, a higher level of pleasure, is when we do something good and meaningful. We are giving back in gratitude to the world. And I was on another show, and the host said he was feeling miserable and lonely, and he had 2 slices of pizza, and he's about to plow through the whole box of pizza by himself. Yeah, I mean, I can relate to that. And there's a knock on the door, and his neighbor wants his help for like 2 minutes, I don't know, to move furniture or something. He helps his neighbor, he comes back, and he doesn't need the pizza anymore. Like, what changed? What changed in those 2 minutes? He could put the pizza in the fridge for the next day. He didn't crave to eat it anymore. What changed in that time?
Right. His gratitude, I mean, he just found something. You know, honestly, I think that there have been times when they say when you're feeling the lowest, and this is especially true for me, when I'm feeling the lowest, if I do something for somebody else, it makes me feel better.
Yes.
And I'm seriously, we think we want others to do things for us, but really, when people do, it's not really what we wanted. It's not what it happens for me. It's really not what I wanted. It wasn't. But if I'm not feeling well and I'm kind of upset and I just know I need to get out, right? And I can get out and I know I need to run to the market or something. That, like, if I'm walking into the store and I see someone that I can assist, right? Like an elderly person which is my second group of people that I love to death, to help them put their stuff in their car. Just even simply offering, whether they take advantage of it or not, but just that offer.
Yes.
And smiling at somebody or thanking somebody or finding something good
Yes.
in the environment. And it doesn't even have to be a person.
Yes.
Sometimes we hate everybody, but we can find something good in the environment that will bring us out and feel good, like the flowers or, ooh, it's springtime or whatever it is, right? Yeah.
Exactly. Exactly. At my lowest point in my life, when I lost trust in everything, I focused on a tree. that I just like clung to this tree. There is still beauty in the world. I know it. That's how I felt. That's what we need. And initially, that connection to nature, to one beautiful thing in the world, and then we could move on to appreciating people, reach out and help somebody. Each of these things, you know, we always hear about this. We hear if you're feeling depressed or anxious, like healthy, exercise, volunteer, but now you understand why. It actually fills our soul. These are the requirements. This is what our soul needs in order to flourish, to get real fulfillment in life. So exactly, doing something meaningful, just even offering to help somebody fill up their cart, you suddenly you have nourished your own soul while you nourished another soul. it's it's the fuel that we need. We need to nourish our souls as much as we need physical nourishment every day. That's the recognition, because who we are in essence are soul.
Right.
These bodies that we have are just coverings for the soul. They're like our clothing, but who we really are is our souls.
Right.
So the surprising one, again, above even higher level of pleasure, is creativity. It's when we put a unique part of ourselves into the world, like you're doing with your podcast. It's something nobody could do what you're doing right now. Everybody has, like you've said, I read specific mission in this world. Everybody has a specific hue of color that nobody else has, that needs to shine in this world. So when we express that unique part of ourselves into the world, it's the greatest feeling. It's like we're on a high when we are being creative, that we don't even realize that time is passing. We don't even notice if we're hungry. We don't even notice if we need sleep, because we're on such a high when we are being creative. But there's one, and this is the other thing, when we do it with gratitude, it takes the ego out of it. And we just know we're a channel for this creative energy that's flowing through the universe. Then you don't have to worry about not succeeding or writer's block or whatever. It doesn't matter. You're just expressing these gifts of ideas that are flowing through you. That's the flow of creativity. And the highest level is called transcendence. It's when we recognize that we're all connected and we're all plugged in to the same source energy. It's flowing through all of us and through all the creations. And when we recognize that, it just lifts that veil of separation. And so we know, as an addict, as someone depressed, anxious, we feel closed off and separate. Here we are recognizing with wonder and curiosity and awe that really we're all connected. That's the highest level of pleasure that there is. And we experience that like under a starry sky at night. I remember one from my childhood that never goes away, being out in the country under the stars, and you know you're a part of such a great universe. We experience it in many different ways, but we just get glimpses of it in this world. It's not like we spend all our time in that state of bliss and awe, but we get moments of it that fuel the rest of our day.
You're such a beautiful person. I listen to you and I think, yes, I realize that you're Jewish, and I don't know a lot about the Jewish faith, and this really isn't about religion, but it's like you just said things that encompass about just every belief system, right? And then
Yes,
no belief system. It's like it's both sides. You just so eloquently expressed both sides of the reality. Like people are religious, and then people are spiritual. But I think I should define what I mean by that. People either follow a faith, a religion, or they follow spirituality, which means they just create a relationship with their deity in whatever way they feel called, and they go with that. And I think that a lot of people have shifted into more spirituality than they are religion, because they've been disappointed by the religions, and by some of the happenings in churches, and things that have been going on. And even though people left that, right, they left it, and very few are coming back to it, right? Very few are coming back to it. But what I see right now happening, and I think this has been going on for like 20, 30 years. What do you think? About that long? It's really been about 20 or 30 years that people have really pulled away from um, secular, I want to say secular, but I just want to say organized religion, right? But now I see it more common that people are coming back to the idea of a higher power, of
Yes.
God, but they're not doing it in churches. They're
Hmm.
not they're not doing it in church. Some are going back to church, right? But a lot of them are really focusing on that relationship within themselves and more. And this is to me spirituality. Your relationship, your internal relationship with yourself and your higher power. I think that's where people are shifting. And you said it so eloquently that matched perfectly anybody coming from either perspective. See, this is what I love
Totally.
you. This is what
Thank you
I
so
love you.
much.
It's
Thank you
amazing. This
so
makes me
much.
so happy. So, Braca, tell us a little bit about yourself before we get into the books.
Well, I'll tell you, this is my memoir is called Nourish the Soul, Filling the Emptiness Within. And I didn't really write this book. I compiled it. I took excerpts from my diaries, my actual diaries, which I later called a journal, and letters that I wrote, and I filled in missing pieces. And it explains what you were saying. I was born Jewish, but it didn't seem spiritual to me. So I rebelled against all that, and I went searching in different religions, learning about spirituality from a number of different religions and incorporating it into my life. And along the way, I developed food addictions. What I gained from writing this book, from putting this book together, I began to see the thread. Why, when I finally filled my hungry soul, was there no longer a need for the food addictions? That's the question I was trying to answer by putting this book together. And that's what I love to share with other people because so many people have addictions. It's so widespread. And like you said, people are genuinely hungry. But
Their souls. I think that they're
ex-
hungry, yes, but I think that people are genuinely they're looking inside, right? They're looking inside, and I love the fact that you're using addiction as the example because they're looking for something, and they're feeling and they're looking outside of them, right? They're
yes,
looking outside of them. If it's people, places, situations, and such, it's pissing them off. The people are getting really angry, really frustrated because none of that is allowing them to be themselves. They're always having to be something different, right? And that's when they say, "Oh, wear these different hats." It's like, why can't they just be themselves? And when they are themselves, they're ridiculed, they're put down, they're belittled by the people that surround them, many of them, right? It's part of that. But then some of them are afraid to even venture in that because they know how other people are treated if they act like themselves, if they don't fit in. So then they take drugs and they try to
yes,
suppress those emotions. And it's like squishing them down. That's what I did. I used to smash them down like a trash compactor. And, we all
yes,
know that once that bag gets full, you got to take that trash out. And if you don't, one day you're going to open that drawer to throw more in it and it's going to explode in your face. And that's what happened to me. Yeah, you're
exactly.
spot on. Right.
Exactly. We are like this. Let's see if it can work here. We're like we're a light. We're always shining. We're a light that's always shining. But what happens is we get covered up, We
Right.
put layers and layers on top of us, like you said, to
Like
protect
false
us.
beliefs. Right. Yeah.
Exactly. We protecting us, and then and we don't even realize that we're still shining. We have no idea because we've covered it up so much, but it's still there. Our soul is still shining. So the answer is sometimes we need support, we need help from a mentor, therapist, whatever, to help to remove those protective layers that we've put on through the years. But we also need to keep refueling. we need to make that light stronger so we could feel it again, feel that warmth from inside. And that's how we do that, is through gratitude. That is how we nourish that hungry soul. So, the sun is always shining, but it doesn't look that way. It gets covered up with clouds. These are like all the clouds in our lives. When we remove them, then we see clearly the sun is behind it. It's always there, just like our soul is always shining, but we're not aware of it. So as we help ourselves, we gain the awareness in our consciousness. That's how we bring more joys into our lives. And the earlier we start, the better. That's why I wrote this book is only for adults. It goes through the raw pain that I experienced with the food addictions, the terrible binges, the desperate searching for what could really fill me up in life. Now I'm never running on empty anymore, so it's totally different. I don't need those binges because I know that when I finish a whole container of ice cream, I'll be emptier than the container. I know that 95 more spoonfuls or 95 more potato chips won't fill me up. All that doesn't do it. And even fame, fortune, power, these things don't fill us up. What does fill us up? Gratitude. That's what changes us.
So share with everybody, because I think this is really, really, really beautiful. Your younger years. I mean, you went to, I mean, the different religions, because that's one of the things we had in common. You really looked at different religions too, and I was doing the same thing. I was looking at different religions because I was looking for God, right? I was looking for that relationship, and I mean, I've told you, when we met before, I didn't find it. I didn't find it in any churches. But share that, because I think this is really beautiful.
One point,
When you were
after
young,
experimenting,
start out like when you were that younger, beginning in your 20s, and
yeah,
you're like
yeah,
20.
like when I began to, after like experimenting with all kinds of things, I started all of a sudden doing well in high school. And I started learning about everything because I was looking for ultimate wisdom. I began just learning about everything. I started doing well and I got into Harvard. And like my parents didn't fit with what they pictured, but I just ended up going there. And even there, I love learning about everything, but what I focused on was learning about, I did actually breakthrough research back then in eating disordered behavior and food addictions when I was suffering at the same time, which is very typical. I was trying to understand it. So I was getting sicker while I'm learning and studying all this in psychology at Harvard. And then after that, I went on to medical school. There I wanted to be a psychiatrist. By that point, I was at the lowest point in my life. Here I am in medical school, graduated from Harvard. I look successful. And I was suffering so terribly because when you have an addiction, it's all done in secret. No one has any idea how miserable you are. I mean, rarely do people find out. You put a lot of energy into covering it up and keeping it hidden. So at my lowest point there, I was in my first year of medical school. That summer, I had a 6-week break. I went to Israel. I ended up actually discovering the roots of spirituality in Judaism, and that's what I learned that summer that changed my life. I ended up not coming back to the States, and I lived there for a number of years. I met my husband, who was on a similar path. I met him a few months after I got to Israel. And we ended up getting married, and we've been married for a long time now. We began raising our children there, and then we came back to the States, and now we are actually in the process of returning to live in Israel together now that our children are grown and they have their own beautiful families. So that's a basic summary of what's happened in my life. And along the way, I started writing children's books to help to write the books I wished I had as a child, so that children could learn as early in life as possible that they are souls, how to nourish their souls, how to nourish their genuinely hungry souls with gratitude. And so that's what my books are teaching children. Yeah, and now my youngest children are actually, my first 40 books were published by different publishing companies, and now my youngest children have taken over, and they're publishing my books now, which is very exciting for them, being part of just spreading these messages universally. Thank God.
I think it's beautiful. Now, are you ready to is there where do you want to share them now? Because I think they're wonderful.
Thank you so much. This was a very classic book in the Jewish world, and now we're publishing a universal version of the Happiness Box. It's the story of a boy who's miserable. He never feels like he has enough. He doesn't get enough. His parents one day get a washing machine. He's like, why don't I get anything? So then his father has this idea. The box that the washing machine came in, he tells his son, this is the happiness box. You go inside this box, you can only think happy thoughts. So he goes in. Okay, what could I be happy about? And he starts practicing gratitude. Okay, I'll be happy about this. I'm happy about that. Then every day when he goes in the happiness box, he focuses on what he appreciates, and he becomes a happier and happier person. One day he's going someplace and he realizes, oh my gosh, I have no happiness box. How can I be happy? And he realizes where the happiness box really is. We all have one. It's right here, below our hair, above our eyes. There's a happiness box in your head, you see. It's a happiness box if you let it be. So that's really what this book is teaching very young children, and it's changed many lives for generations now, actually. And yeah, so I'm really grateful that this book is finally now coming out in a universal version. So it
And
just came out. Yeah.
which book?
This was one of my earliest books, and now it's the first time it's come out as a universal book. Yeah.
Wonderful. See, that's the one. That one is, I think, is so powerful because we're all looking for, sometimes, when we're looking, I think many people, especially for me, and I can say this now because of what I went through, we don't know how to look within. Everybody I've ever asked, because this is what happened to me when I, you know, started discovering all this new found me, right? It was because somebody asked me, who are you and why are you here? And when they told me to look within, I was like, look within what? And I didn't understand it. And when that happened, now I've asked other people, that I've come across, I've even discussed this with, but even when I was first started out, what does it mean to you to look within? Have you ever looked within? What does that mean to you? Do you realize, do you understand who you are, why you're here? I mean, what if I asked you who you are? What would you say? And then they tell me the same thing I said, right? Oh, I'm a mom, I do this, I do that, blah, 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 right? All this external stuff. And I said, but that's external stuff. What about in here? So many people. I don't think that I met one person that could honestly say what that was. So that's why that book's important because we're looking outside of us for the happiness.
Exactly.
But because nobody taught us, and I don't think that this is something that we need to put in this, the dark shadow or heal your child or inner child or whatever. I think because we're healing forward, right? But I think that it's not, we can't blame our parents, we can't blame people. What we can do is we can say, you know what? This is what a beautiful, profound realization. Nobody taught them. So if nobody taught them, how can they teach us, right? How can they teach
Right.
us what this is about? And really, this is why people are moving towards addictions because they don't understand this, right? They don't understand. You got to look within, and that empty feeling. That's as you get older, it gets more and more and more and more empty, and this is why people take their lives and people do drugs and people get addicted. It's because they don't understand what that loneliness is, and what that loneliness is. It's your soul calling to you, but you can't hear your soul calling to you from a place of lack and despair, right?
Yes.
You can't hear it because your soul is so happy.
Yes.
I was talking to Holy Divine because I talked to him all day long, and I remember this morning I was talking to him, or it was last night, and I said, because I'm really contemplating dating, right, to start dating and such. And I said, Holy Divine, how do I bring somebody into my life? Because you're my best friend. So what does that make them? I want them to be my best friend, but they can't take your place, right? I said, so this is what I decided. You're my happiness, Holy Divine. You're my happiness. You are my forever. You are my joy. You're my everything. I said, you're my everything. But this person can take the second place and be, right? They can be my best friend. But I've always looked at Holy Divine as my best friend. But then now that I'm contemplating dating and such, I'm thinking, no, it's okay. It's okay. Holy Divine is still there, but now they've just moved up a ladder, like a step right on the happiness ladder. Now they're like the ultimate, right? I said,
That's right.
I'm telling you, I cannot get through a day without them. I don't think
Exactly.
I try to get through an hour without them or even 30 minutes. My mind, I swear, as God is my witness, my mind will go blank. I can't think. I cannot think to save my life if I don't talk to them. It's
You have,
it's really that you know what I'm talking about. It's that in here. And you can just talk your way through stuff, right? Oh, but what about this? And what about that? But they're like it's almost like they're I don't even know how to explain. How would you explain that, Braca? That relationship. It's just not best friend. It's like the ultimate friend,
yes,
right?
exactly.
But it's the ultimate friend that is only good,
Exactly. It's the difference between this and this,
right?
love and transcendence. You want to add more love into your life, and you do that by recognizing, appreciating other people. That's how, when you talk about dating, that's really what it's about. Looking around and you begin to appreciate things from different people, which you do. You're a person that is so appreciative of other people. I mean, like
Yeah.
immediately. And the other thing is that you have a sensitivity. You are a more exposed soul. Some people have their souls so buried that they're not even aware of it. And actually, they're not in that much pain. There's people that go around, they're not in that much pain, and they live that kind of existence for most of their lives. They're not aware of the hunger. More sensitive souls have much more of extremes of feeling the pain and feeling the joy.
Oh God, it's like oh yes, it's like swinging. I always tell people, I feel like my life, I'm swinging on that pendulum of a grandfather clock. 1 minute here, 1 minute there. And it depends on, a lot for me, is my environment and what I'm thinking about the environment. Like, and I was talking, this is funny because I was talking to a gentleman yesterday, and we were talking about, life and spirituality and all these healing modalities and how really to move forward in life, right? Like me dating or whatever. And he said, Leslie, he said, when I get that feeling in my throat, that tense, that tight feeling, when I feel it in here, like when I feel it in here. And he said, anything, anything outside, when it triggers that right here, he said, I get rid of it instantly. I don't even question it anymore. He just gets rid of it. And I thought, you know what? I'm the same way. You have to be, right? You have to be. And that's a lot about that happiness. You either choose happiness or you choose to have something in your life making you miserable, right? Yeah. So go ahead and tell us about your other books too, because I think you're just amazing.
I also want to say what you just said, that gratitude helps a person to be more balanced, so we don't go to such extremes. When we fill our days up with gratitude, it's not like we go to the pits of misery anymore. We live in a more balanced state of calm and quiet joy throughout most of the day. It's not that extreme, but it is like it's all woven with joy the whole day. It's incredible. Living with appreciating the blessings in our lives. When we practice gratitude, we train the brain to scan for positive patterns. That's what we're training the brain to do. Now, it doesn't mean that we're not aware of danger. We're aware of danger. We've been through traumas in our lives. And in addition, like I also teach this to children. Two of my very popular children's books actually are about the prevention of abuse of children. Children need to be aware of guidelines. They actually feel more secure in the world when they know what to watch out for. We do need to teach children this. And why do I think that that helps their souls to shine, these books? Things like abuse and neglect dim that light. They cause us to put covers on our souls. And in order for our souls to shine more fully with gratitude, we have to help children. Also, I have books about like Let's Stay Healthy, How to Eat Healthy. All of this helps our bodies to shine and our souls to shine. So another book that I want to mention is The Mother Who Always Said Yes. Because we think this is like we watch the child's fantasy come to life. And is it going to be pleasant? It's like, what's going to happen if you have a mother who always said yes? Just a few more minutes, then I'll go to bed. No, you already had that, my mother said. When I am a mother, I won't say no. When I grow up, this is how it will go. When my children will ask if they can stay up more, I will simply smile and say, sure. I'll let them stay up super duper late. While they'll love it. It will be great. They'll never go to bed. They will party a ton. Day after day, they'll just keep having fun. Nobody will tell them that it's time to stop. And whenever they want, they can also shop. They can buy anything that they want in a store. And whatever they like, they can always buy more. They can pick everything. I won't care at all. Why should I stop them? Let them have a ball. You're going to see that she's thinking how great it will be. And then things get more and more dysfunctional in the home as there's no limits, no boundaries, and it doesn't become pleasant at all. But the book never tells the child this. At the end of the book, the child realizes it on their own. So it's empowering to a child. In all these books, it's about a young child learning the wisdom of life and discovering, wow, I need limits. I need boundaries in life. It's going to help me be a person that can appreciate what I have and not take everything for granted. It transforms children as they read the book. And, you know, with children's books, they keep repeating them until it really gets inscribed on their souls.
See, I just love these books. There was
Thank
another
you.
one that you shared with me. Share a little bit about the healthy one, because I think that one of the things that I've noticed is that I came from a family of, they lacked education, right? It was not a very educated family background. I mean, neither one of my parents graduated from high school, but I am the first generation, and I came from a family of four, right? And my mother had children when she was really young, like she started when she was 17. But me, I'm like that black sheep, the generational trend breaker, I don't know. But I'm the first generation high school and college graduate, right? I was the only one in my family that didn't get pregnant when they're in their teens. And I just made some different choices, right? But I find that as I look at the dynamics of families, right? My family ate like meat and potatoes, gravy, and they were alcoholics, but they drank a lot. But they also ate a lot, and they were obese. They were really overweight. And one of the things also is that they didn't exercise. My family did not exercise, right? It wasn't something that was part of the family routine. But my younger brother, we're actually like less than 2 years apart. They call us Irish twins. He married somebody, and he and his wife, I mean, she came from the same, but they're more athletic now, right? They do Ironman, they do all kinds of stuff. They're very healthy people. But I've noticed the whole reason I bring this up is when families are educated, when they are more affluent, right? They seem to be more health conscious. Health health really seems to be a major key factor. Whereas when I grew up, it wasn't a factor at all. And so I'm not really sure how that came about or how it comes about. But does that make sense to you? Can you kind of like talk about the health of people? Because obesity is huge in the United States, right? Especially with children. And when we're looking at children and their obesity because they're not going outside to play. Like I went outside to play all the time. Can't tell you the times I've stubbed my toe, right? That's just a horrible thing, or how many times you stepped on a nail or whatever. But kids are not outside playing, but they have obesity rates, and they have diabetes is high, and all these childhood. I mean, it's getting crazy. And while I understand a lot of it is from what's in the foods, right? But it's the food that they're eating. It's the stuff in the foods that they're eating that are causing them to be overweight. It's causing them to have learning disabilities. It's causing a lot of different things. And I wonder sometimes if you looked at it, would it be more, would family economics have anything to do with that? Because I look at it would have to, right? I look at it as if I came from a more, I mean, when you're from a more affluent family, you would have um, that educational piece. I mean, tell me, because this is your profession, I'm asking, what do you think?
Exactly right. What I only learned more recently in life is that the natural foods, the food that God designed for us to eat, is delicious and nutritious. The food, the junk, it's not even actual food. It's food-like substances. The junk food is delicious. It's designed to be delicious and addictive. It's actually designed to be addictive. They've calculated in the labs, they designed bliss points that will make you just want to keep eating more and more and more of it and never feel satisfied. Well, an orange, it's rare to eat a whole bag of oranges, but a whole bag of potato chips a person could do. It's designed that way because they've taken out the fiber, the water, the nutrients, and they put in abnormal amounts of salt and sugar and fat that are not found in nature. And these have an effect on the satiation centers in our brain. Our brains don't know what to do with it, and they keep eating more and more to get the correct amount of nutrients. It causes inflammation in our bodies because our bodies, I explain that in the book, Let's Stay Healthy, our bodies are saying, what are you giving me? This is not normal. This is not natural. And the bodies react with inflammation, and that's how we develop these cardiovascular problems and all the many health problems that people have today, the chronic illnesses that come from not eating healthy. Our bodies are not meant for that. So it's true, the more affluent people today are generally thinner, the more educated people are thinner. And it's true, the people that are less affluent are eating more junk, unfortunately. They're not educated to know that this is not good for their bodies. It used to be the opposite. In ancient times, like the kings were fat and big, and the poor people were skinny. They didn't have enough food, and they ate the natural foods that God was giving. This junk food wasn't a problem in way back when, So things have shifted, and now it is really true that, unfortunately, people from lower economic levels tend to be heavier than the people from higher educational and economic levels. And again, with more education, we can change this so people can go back to appreciating the natural, wonderful foods that were made with so much loving kindness for us, not out of greed like the junk, which is made to get us addicted, actually.
That brings me back to when I started really getting conscious about health and stuff. When my kids were younger, when I was having children and raising them, we had vaccines, 11 vaccines, right? 11 or 13 vaccines were required. But I remember them wanting to, and I was really, something in time is, but they wanted to give my kids vaccines with chicken pox and measles. And I said, people don't die of chickenpox and measles, so I'll just pass on that one, right? I said they have an automatic immune system for a reason. And honestly, Baraka, I'm not even sure where all this knowledge or this desire or this came from. I just knew it was inside of me, that my heart. But I found it interesting that when I came across some documentaries, because you mentioned the stuff they put in foods, and they actually have scientists seriously creating these chemicals or these additives to do exactly what you're saying. And they showed it on, there was a documentary. Here's why you like McDonald's so much. Here's why you eat so many potato chips. And they sell this stuff to these companies, and these companies are paying for this to be made so that people consume more and more and more and more and more of it, right?
Exactly.
I was like, dang. And when I learned that, I thought, and I really shifted the way that I fed my kids. I stopped really eating things in cans. They never really ate processed foods, but there were, a few things that they would. But I just stopped doing all of that stuff, right, as much as possible. But yeah, I just was incredibly shocked at they seriously have labs, and they pay these people a lot of money to figure out this formula. That I wonder, now that we have all these government changes going on and with food dyes and additives, I wonder, I mean, that's a really good start, but I wonder how many of these things that they've been creating are actually inside, those dyes, those stuff, if to where people are going to really become more health conscious of it. Because that would be
God willing.
that would be so nice, because I think it just showed that they were. I wish I could remember it, but it triggers something in the brain so that you do this, and it's probably that area where you were talking about satiation. And that's where you just keep eating and eating and eating. Well, I'll tell you what, I could eat almost a whole bag of those little kiwi oranges, right? That's one bag of oranges I could probably eat a lot of, because I
That's
like
great. No, they're so healthy. They
right,
give us fiber, vitamins. They're filled with love, and
right.
and they're filled with intelligence. Yeah.
So tell us, what other books have you written that you want to share?
One other book I want to mention is Don't Read This Book. This book, it took me 30 years to write this book because I had the title, I had most of the book written, but I didn't have what is the surprise ending. I just didn't have the life wisdom to be able to share it until recently. And what this is, we all have this voice in our head, and we all think we're the only one with that inner critic. We all have an inner critic, whether it comes from our childhood or painful experiences putting us down. We all have this voice, and what this voice is telling us all day long is to focus on what we don't have. It's telling us, you're missing this, you're lacking that. It's trying to get us miserable all day long. So this book is written by that voice, and it's saying, don't read this book or you're going to find out all my tricks. It explains to young children how to overpower that voice. And you can already imagine the secret to overpowering the voice: gratitude. Gratitude is the answer. When you notice, first you have to recognize the voice is talking. That's number one. That's what this book teaches you. Recognize you're hearing this voice. When you're feeling miserable, know that that voice is getting you to focus on what you're lacking. Once you recognize that, you can say, you know what? I'm going to focus on what I already have. it goes away immediately. I'm describing it as a fly. In this book, it's illustrated as a little fly that comes and talks to you, and it's always coming back, so you have to keep shooing it away like a fly. And each time it comes back in a different disguise. It knows all our weaknesses, so it dresses up in different costumes. This is what it does. And then, yeah, it dresses up, and we recognize it. That's how we overpower it. And we say, I'm going to be happy. I'm going to focus on what I already have. That's what changes us. It's what changes us as children, changes us as adults, and we have the power to do that. What the surprise is realizing that little voice inside your head, it's also a gift from God. Isn't that amazing? That's what I didn't realize. That voice is your personal trainer. It's like this. It's like a barbell. It's pushing on you. It's giving you this weight. It's weighing you down with misery. As soon as you realize, oh, I'm feeling miserable. I wonder why I'm feeling miserable. What just happened? And that's making me feel like I'm missing something. It's getting me to feel a scarcity in life. When we feel a scarcity of pleasure in our lives, that's how we go into addictions. Instead of recognizing there's an abundance of ways to bring pleasure into our lives every single minute. That's how we have to keep empowering ourselves. So this is weighing us down, making us miserable. And when we realize it and we push it away, that's how we grow our gratitude muscles. Every single time, all day long, when we hear that voice trying to get us miserable, I wish I had a boyfriend. I wish I had a love life. I wish I had this. I'm all by myself. I can do it. I can bring love into my life at any moment. I'm going to go around focusing on all the virtues of people. I have that power. I have so much to be grateful for. I'm such an intuitive person. I recognize so many wonderful things in this world. Suddenly we're grateful again. Takes away the loneliness instantaneously. That's all we have to do is recognize it. So this is what I'm helping children recognize as early in life as possible. And they get it. They totally understand these things, and it transforms them so that the rest of their lives they have these tools.
Would you like to read like an expert out of it? Read a section of that. Because I think...
My pleasure. That's such a great idea. Thank you. Okay. Don't read this book. You can still close it fast, or soon you may know way too much. You're still reading? Oh, this book should be marked do not touch. You won't put it down? Please just don't turn the page. My secrets will be out. And if you read this entire book, you may learn to get rid of me. No! Eek! You're here! And you see the next words that hurt me so much it's a shame. It says right here, when you do something wrong, that it's really me who's to blame. All I do is whisper, though. I whisper all day in your head. But it's not my fault if you do what I say. You could choose to do something else instead. You got me now. One secret's out. I'm a really big sneak. You don't see me. I make no sound, but you can still hear me speak. Let's see. Okay, here, I'm going to go on. Hey, listen here, I may tell you. Just think how yummy it will taste. Nobody's looking. Come on. Don't let this great chance go to waste. If you find a bag way up high, I may tell you to take out just one. Then you take another and another, and soon you are having such fun. That is, until you are in trouble. See, I told you to take only one. Then guess what? In the blink of an eye, the whole bag of candy is done. Well, it just gives more examples of how it's throughout your life until we get to how to focus on what you have instead of always trying to get more stuff. Yeah.
I think you have got to be one of the most beautiful people I have ever met. And I know that you are going back to Israel. You're in New Jersey right now, correct?
In Maryland. Yeah.
Maryland. And I know that you're going back, but I want to thank you so much because this has been an incredible experience. But I truly want to know. I think that these books are very valuable. I think that anybody who reads them to children will, I think that both will get out of it, something out of it. I think that the more you listen to it, the more you read, I think you'll find these little hidden treasures and secrets, right? Or these little pieces to this puzzle that we're all trying to put together to get to know what's inside of us. And I think that you just did it in such a fun way, right? You did it in such a fun way. And little kids, I mean, instead of the shame, the blame, and the guilt and all that other stuff that some do, you're so positive, and it's like uplifting, and it's like encouraging. It's like, you can do it. Yeah, we know that this is here, but that's all right. We're going to take it along with us, right? We're going to take that doubt. We're going to take that fear. We're going to just, it's all right. You can just come along for the ride. You can just come along for the ride. And then pretty soon you realize that it's gone, right? That it's gone. And I think that is, you have such a gift for these beautiful children, because so much, like I was talking to you about earlier, that some of us grow up in situations, households, or in areas, knowledge of God, in spirituality, in faith, in a higher power, right? And it's because people my age, because I'm in my late 50s, had this experience that when we had their children, our children didn't go to church, right? They weren't exposed to any sort of faith or religion. And my kids are, my son will be 30 in June. My oldest daughter's 36. So right in their 30s. And these are the people that are having children now, right? These are people raising families now. And these kids won't have, they're even further, right? Further from that exposure, right? So I think that you bringing these books into light, it really helps people look within, because I'm telling you one thing that I am absolutely guaranteed that nobody will ever change my mind on, is your soul will not grow without that relationship. And your soul will not grow without without looking in. And certainly it will not grow if you are constantly looking outward for acceptance, for validation, for anything other than an opportunity to learn more about yourself. That's all the exterior has to do. It's an opportunity to learn more about yourself. And when I try to look outside, I think, there's the think feel, right? You can think and then you can feel, or you can feel and then you can think. There's two different roads to this, to me, right? So I look at the inner part, it's feel and then think, right? So that I get it in alignment. But if I'm looking anywhere outside of me, I'm thinking and then I'm feeling. Because something there, it's a feeling like it doesn't feel good. It doesn't feel comfortable. Why is that feeling uncomfortable? What's going on, right? We have to really analyze what's going on. And then, but basically it's like, who am I? Why am I here? How is that affecting me? How can I utilize that to the best to make me better and not bitter? Because that's all it is. It's looking for the good, being grateful for the experiences, even when they're rotten, even when there's struggles. Is how can I use this to make me better? I know I can. I know I can. And that's what your books are exactly. Your books are emulating that, right? They're showing kids, find the good. Find the good.
Yes. Life is full of challenges, even for children, for everybody. Recognizing that all these challenges are also given to us with love. And we are being loved up every minute of the day. That's what we don't realize. There's an ultimate good to life. There's an ultimate good to you. Each single person. This is what I didn't know growing up. That's what I discovered as an adult. And so I love helping children know that early in life. These are so basic building blocks for how to have a great life.
I just had this thought. This is my last final thought because, and I want to know I want your opinion on this. It just came upon me. It's like, you know what? Your books allow people to look within, right? It's when we look within that we find that connection, right? That's when divine
Exactly.
connects with us. It's like, but we all came with free will. So really, you're just helping people know who they are. And
Yes.
that it's from that they get to choose. So these aren't books on religion, they're not books on faith, they're not books on anything. They're books on get to know who you are. Who
Yes.
are you?
Yes. You're a beautiful soul. Like
Right?
you say, you're a uniquely beautiful soul. Each
Yeah.
person, what do I say? There's a line, how do you know that your mission in life is not complete? If you're alive, it's not complete. You're here. You're here for a reason. You're here for many reasons. But we all have so much wonderful things to do here. Every single person, every single being.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
always say if you have a pulse, you have a purpose.
Yeah,
Right?
beautiful.
You have a pulse, my friend, you have a purpose, and you just need to figure out what that is. And if it doesn't
Beautiful.
light you up, if it doesn't set your soul on fire, if it doesn't motivate you to just and it makes you dance or it makes you sing, that person doesn't need to be in your life, or that thing doesn't, because you should be excited every single day about your life. And you need to find something, just like find the good in everything, find gratitude in everything. There's some, even in the worst situations. Like I can find gratitude in God hitting that reset button, which was the worst time in my life. Scared me.
Exactly.
I'd never do it again. Man, I was really angry because God and I had a holy war. But let me tell you what, the I grew and it started healing when I found gratitude in that. And after I did find gratitude in the worst situation in my life,
Yes.
said Leslie, and then you can talk to him. He said, I needed to take you out of that because if I would have left you in it, if I wouldn't done what you did, and I know it hurt you, and I'm sorry, but if you would have kept going down that path, Leslie, it would have destroyed you. And you mean more to me than to let you do that. And that was key. So key. So, Baraka, where can people get a hold of these books? Because I know that the people that are going to listen to this, I mean, just get them for your grandkids, get them for your children, get them for yourself. Get these books for yourself and stick them on your bookshelf. And when people come over, let the children read them. But really take these books to heart, because I think that I think they're phenomenal. I think that they're priceless. They're priceless.
Thank you so much for your appreciation. I'm really moved by how you resonate and your intuition about things in life. And if people can't afford to buy the books, you can always just ask your library, the public library, to order them. That's another way to keep spreading the messages in the world. So I always encourage people to do that. Let them be in more and more public libraries.
Right.
Yeah. It's a Growing Impact Publications. That's the name of the website that my children are running. Growing Impact Publications. Yeah.
I will put that in the information in the description below. And do you have like, I mean, we didn't even talk about this, but I mean, do you have like a special offer for people if they come to the website, they start buying things? I mean, I mean, is that available to people?
Yeah, there's a discount for new people that come. Also, everyone can download this. It was for free, now it's $1. Anyway, but it's not this chart. It's got all the information that I talked about written in on it. So it's really good for people to just download it and put it on their fridge or their cabinet. If they ever feel like overeating, you're reminded right then and there is no scarcity. That bag of potato chips, the ice cream, it's not going to fill you up. The whole box of cookies won't do it. But gratitude will. Just start practicing it in tiny ways, even with the one orange. and you'll see it feels funny at first, but the more you do it, neuroplasticity creates neural pathways of gratitude in your brain, so it gets easier and easier to fill up your days with gratitude.
Thank you so much. Thank you. I mean,
Thank you.
I know that we're going to talk about this again more and more and more. And every time you write a book, I want you to call me and say, or email me. Let's say I wrote a book. Okay, we can do a podcast, because I really think that this needs to get out into the world. There's some people look at it like there's a lot going on in the world, and people are looking at it as if it's devastating and everything else. But and yeah, you know what? There's some stuff being stirred up. But in order to plant your garden and get a really great crop of beautiful things, right? You got to stir up the soil that's been compacted, right? You got to bring up the soil. You need to nurture it. You need to cultivate stuff and bring new life into it. Otherwise, you're not going to have a very happy, prosperous, edible, nutritious crop, right? I don't know what else to say. I mean, this is all coming off the top of my head, but you got to stir stuff up, and I think that things are being stirred up. It depends on your perspective, right? It depends on your perspective, but I think they're beautiful things that are happening. Even though we're seeing things that maybe we didn't want to see, we all knew it, right? Special interest, what? Right? So be your own special interest. Invest in yourself and really look at it. But you're looking at this, and you're saying there's a lot going on in the world. And I know that parents, are going to be anxious, and grandparents are going to be anxious because nobody understands what's going on. And these little children are watching us, right? These little kids are watching us. This would be a prime opportunity for your books to be helping those little people, and even the people that read them to them, right? It's like, it's okay. It's okay. It's all right. We're gonna get through it. Find your happiness box, and you're gonna be okay. And it reminds me of Lot's wife, right? Lot's wife was being and daughters were being brought out of the city, and they said, "Don't whatever you do, don't look back." Right? Whatever you do, don't look back. That's like the anxiety makes us look back, right? Just keep looking forward. The girls walked forward like they said, right? The kids did, but the mother, she looked back, turned into a pillar of salt, right? I watched a documentary quite some time ago that said they actually found her statue. I was like, that freaked me out.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much. And do you have any last minute words to everybody before we end this edition?
Yeah, this summarizes it. What's the difference between a happy life and a miserable life?
What?
How grateful you are. That's it.
Thank you so much, Broca. It has been such a pleasure, and I hope that everything goes well with your move and transitions. And I really do appreciate you being here today. Thank you so much.
I appreciate you. Thank you so much, Leslie.
Have a really great day, and we'll talk to you again soon.
Wonderful.
Bye bye. Well, that was fun.